So this session is about ports playing foundation role in developing chemical hubs. And so what's happening is that we are seeing a lot of chemical hubs and PCPI coming into picture. And now, what would be their role in the overall expansion strategy of our chemical hubs is what we are going to talk about. So let me understand from them how they visualize chemical hubs and what's the role that ports will play. So starting with Ram sir, because you have the you also were linked to what we can say some of the ports earlier, and now you are taking care of Seahorse ship agencies.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks, Prashant ji. Well, it's a privilege for me to be part of this August gathering, or I've been part of ICN, I believe from your first edition right here in Mumbai. And it's always a pleasure to talk about the various challenges and the growth of chemical industry, especially with regards to shipping and ports. As I don't have to mention about it, there is a full set of crowd here, those behind also. Everyone understands the importance of, the growing importance of chemical industry right here. Because Indian chemical industry is growing by leaps and bounds, and it is one of the sunshine industry, which we all agree. I'm just setting the tone for this discussion. And when you talk about chemical industry growing, means the logistics has got to grow. Logistics has got to grow. Chemical industry growing by about 6 to 8% over the last 20 odd years. Likewise, the logistics continue to grow on this. This means EXIM grows. This means port grow. The logistics grow. There is storage capacity grows, and there is job for us. There is money for all of us right here for this industry to survive and be in this business. That is the crux of the thing. End of the day, we continue to be in business. What about India? The growth, well, the statistics can say that we can go up to India's chemical industry is now poised to touch a trillion by 2030. All these are all statistics. I don't want to go by statistics. It is the number of people which this industry does employ. I can literally say over the last 50 years of my career here in this shipping, I have seen chemical industry grow in leaps and bounds right here in India. That is the hallmark truth. When we talk about, if someone has gone to, most of the people would have gone to this West Coast PCPR, Bharuch, the Ankleshwar, Bharuch, this full belt. So we really know what exactly is happening. This full is just a chemical hub. East Coast PCPR, the Vizag area has been, well, the government has done its push. Are we really seeing the result? Yes and no. I don't want to comment on this. There is that is for the government authorities to comment. It is for the industry right here, and we, as the logisticians, we can comment on it, and the ports right here, APM and various other people who can comment on this. But having said that, ports and its ecosystem form a very critical part of this entire logistics. Not just about transportation. This ecosystem is very important for storage and load and transship or moving out, export, import of the imports of India's chemical industry. Now, India is largely onto the raw material stage. We have moved up the ladder onto the intermediaries, and of course, quite a bit of, I shouldn't be saying wee bit of, politically correct, is quite a bit of finished products too. Now with this whole plethora, the whole range of chemicals which are being moved, which are being handled for this industry, this demands a full set of varied sets, Not a single set, full different plethora of solutions for storage, transportation, and what have you. I think this is where the ports and the shipping really comes in, not just in the form of, we were talking about a lady who is like an exporter. She was talking about the challenges she was facing for exporting 5.1. When it is very easy, because we are at this industry, India's infrastructure has really not reached that level where the volumes have gone up that much to provide tailor-made solutions and a cost-effective solutions. We are still a wee bit behind, but it won't be too far. Hopefully by 2030, things could be much better. This is what it is. I think this is the opening which I would love to start on. Ports play a key role in the entire ports and this full ecosystem. And when we talk of clusters, we will go into it much further. All right? Thanks.
Daljit, yesterday you signed an agreement with port of VOC port. So you are looking at what we can say new projects coming up, and that's what we are talking about, the chemical hubs. You, in your what we can say parent country, are doing a pretty good job because the chemical hubs are situated near the port. So how do you visualize future ports in India, and how will they act as a facilitate chemical hubs moving forward?
Thank you, Pravinji. I think interesting question, how you actually related back to what Port of Antwerp has done and how do you see what Indian ports would do. I think I'm just looking at the theme there. It says react, create and innovate. I'll just give you a background how Port of Antwerp actually developed. We go back almost after the Second World War, when there was a need. We had the port. We had to really look at how do we expand that. We got the chemical industry company like a BASF to actually set up in the port with a vision to actually build a cluster. And that vision is still active. So that's the kind of thing we reacted, that we needed that. We created that whole infrastructure on that. And we still work on creating that whole infrastructure, but also look at the new innovations that are happening in the industry. Now that was just relating it back to the team. I think when I come to the port infrastructure, what makes us special is the integration of the cluster. It is just not, as Captain Ram just mentioned, that ports have to become the gateway, ports have to be there, the logistics importance, the distribution will be there, a lot of chemicals will flow through the port. But then there is a need to look at the integration of that whole flow. It cannot be just that we just transport products from one place to another. At Port of Antwerp, Bruges, we have the largest integrated chemical cluster based in the port area, which actually means that some of the times the finished product of one company is the raw material for another. And that transportation between the two companies is very short. That also reduces your cost of transportation. Plus, when we look at investments into new molecules, we actually look at the fact that which is the missing molecule and what we can get. So that is one integration between the cluster. Then you talk about the infrastructure in the port. How do we integrate that? That is another point. It cannot be just by way of having one mode of transportation. Our terminals are connected to almost 2 to 3 modes of transportation. Rail being one, we have the inland navigation, we have the road transportation. So when you look at that holistic picture, this is what is completely needed in India to build up that industry-led development, which will also mean that there would be a low cost of operation, low cost of development, because there will be shared infrastructure, there will be shared utilities, and then on that basis, you'll be able to build up a port which will be more efficient, dependent, and reliable.
India is transitioning toward net zero goals, and how can Indian ports adapt to facilitate import and export of green hydrogen derivatives and establish zero-emission chemical supply chains?
Again, an important, because that is what even the previous session talk about coal gasification, but the other new important factor that is being talked about is green ammonia, green methanol, and green hydrogen. Now that is something which everyone has been working over, Last 2 years, if you go back 2 years back, I would have said that, that's going to be we'll have a lot of developments happening till 2030, but obviously that's been delayed a bit. But we are still working on building up that infrastructure because that will be the future and we will be required to look at that development. When it comes to ports, how they can actually build the infrastructure, there is need for a couple of things that need to be taken care of. One is the connectivity. You will have to have a good interlink connectivity to actually get the product from the manufacturer to the port and then send it out, or the reverse way. If you are importing certain molecules, then you'll have to really distribute it back. The second one I look at is storage capacities. We will have to build up storage capacities in the port to actually store and bunker or maybe send the products out of the port area. The same that we're doing it in the port of Antwerp is we are building capacities to get the products and then distribute to the industry. The shared infrastructure is very important. We are building up a lot of pipeline network in the port area. We already have around 1,000 kilometers of pipeline in the port area, which distribute around 50 different type of chemicals. But when it comes to molecules like green ammonia, green hydrogen, we are looking at the feasibility, whether we can use that infrastructure. But on the other hand, we are also building up pipelines for green hydrogen. We are building pipelines for green infrastructure. This is just part of building up the infrastructure. But as a port, we also need to look at how green are we, because I see a lot of Indian ports are getting green. They are putting up a lot of equipments that run on green, more renewable energy, the green trucks, which is electric owned. And I was just talking to Rajnish that how many trucks do JM Baxi they have? He said 800 green electric trucks that they're owning. So I think there is a lot of change that is already happening, but we also have to see that how does the overall operation run? At the port, we are a port authority, so we don't do much operations ourselves, but we are leading up a lot of pilot projects ourselves. We've got the first hydrogen truck in the world. We've got the first methanol truck in the world. We've got the first electric truck in the world. Not the first, I would say, but electric truck in the world. We're trying to look at the feasibility, what is going to be the future, and how do we actually give that back to the industry. So I think if you look at what is required, it is a holistic approach of everything that will go from greening yourself to building up that infrastructure to providing solutions to the manufacturer.
Thank you, Daljit ji. Rajnish ji, if you can throw light on how to improve ease of doing business. What is the port turnaround time? Benchmarks India versus global, and how it can be streamlined so that goods can reach the customer places as quickly as possible.
Thanks, Pravinji, and good afternoon, everyone. Before I start answering your question, if I may just once again acknowledge the fact that in a room wherein a lot of chemistry is being spoken about, I was sitting in the previous session, and believe me, half of the thing just went above my head. And I, as a shipping agent, I'm sitting over here. A shipping agent is supposed to be a mukaddam, a anguta chap mukaddam, if I may say so. What do I contribute over here is something that you realize, and Pravinji, thanks for bringing us in, because I am 14% of your landed cost. Logistics is 14% of your landed cost, and logistics is important. That's the reason I am here. So I look forward to events like this, wherein we, the logistics partner, can be more involved with you, the producers, you, the importer, you, the exporters, so that we can reduce your logistics costs. That's number one. Number two, in terms of ease of doing business, sir, lots and lots have changed in the last few years. Things can improve for sure, but if you look at some of the initiatives that the government has taken up, I'll talk purely from shipping, that is bulk shipping, is wherein we have a maritime single window today. You have standard formats across all the ports in the country, wherein there are standard forms in which you file the various manifests with the ports, whether it's a private port or the government ports. Documentation still, customs and others have improvised quite a lot. Are we, as per the international standard, which perhaps Daljit and others might be seeing, a port in Antwerp? No, we are not there, but we are slowly inching towards that. Digitalization, again, lots of improvement has happened, but we are still far off from having an electronic BL, if I may say so. That's going to take time. So to answer your question, ease of doing business, yes, we are much better than what we were about 5 years back, but definitely there are still miles to go before we can say that, yes, we are a truly developed nation with the best logistics in the world.
One more question to you, sir, is how are coastal economic zones and PCPIs leveraging port connectivity to attract global investments?
Pravin ji, before you go on to the coastal aspect of thing, I want you to ask him, and I will chip in thereafter, about the ease of doing business and what really are they looking at. The chemistry, what they are looking at. This is what it is. Would you like to answer something on that?
Sir,
What are they
let me answer on their behalf. They are looking at plug and play.
Simple. Okay, I will answer. You can chip in later. This is very easy. Now, I know all of you guys are very simple. I want a ease of doing business. Don't ask me too many questions. That is the simple thing. Don't ask me too many questions. This is my document. Just ship it. And give me the cheapest quote. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, it doesn't happen that way. You are handling chemicals. There is a defined chemist within your premises who prepares the MSDS. If you were to ship it by air, you know the regulations. You know the regulations if it had to be shipped by sea. Don't produce half documents to agents and expect us to do miracles. We are all in it to ensure a safe and clean and effective transport across logistic transport. If it is air, they will not ship it unless you provide the packaging certificate, the manufacturing details of the manufacturer details of the packaging, inner packaging, outer packaging, all certified with full certification. Whereas if it is at sea, by sea, and if it is containerized, you just give an MSDS and a DG declaration, and that's it. You don't worry about the inner packaging. You're not even worried because quite a bit of it is moved by traders. You are the manufacturers, fine. You are giving it to traders. Probably you take the export benefits, deemed export benefits. Doesn't matter. It is your duty. It's end of the day. He is providing your MSDS, not his MSDS. You must be very careful about the packaging certificate. Please ensure that you provide a full set of documents as you would provide for air transport. You have been far too lackadaisical in providing documents when sea shipments are concerned. And then everyone complains about the various problems. Every shipping line is providing, they are asking for umpteen number of documents. You have seen the various accidents all across, which has been in the news in the recent past. When it is ease of doing business, you got to pitch in, ensure the right documentation, the right information, and the right set of information is provided at that time. I hope that I helped you on that.
No, totally agree with you, sir. So thanks for answering that on my behalf. Pravin ji, in terms of your question, if I can answer it in two parts. One, you mentioned about PCPIR, and second is coastal shipping, as to how we can augment coastal shipping. So about PCPIR, I would say we need to go a step further, and I'm happy to state over here, our company, GM Baxi, we are in the process of setting up green industrial park at 6 various locations. So what this park is, it's a facility of between 100 to 200 acre facility, wherein I, as the service provider, have taken all the approvals. So your lead time to set up your plant over there, instead of about 24 months, 18 to 24 months, you can set it up at this industrial park in 3 months' time. So it's just plug and play system is what I'm coming for. You don't have to worry where your effluent will be treated. You don't have to worry in terms of various permissions you need to take. You please worry about just producing the molecules that you are.
So where are you taking those space?
Sir, starting, the first one is at Khandelwal, Delhi NCR region, one which is going to come up. There's one in UAE. So at 6 different locations, 5 in India, one.
So chemical companies can set up their manufacturing base
so we
in
would
your
have,
SEZ location.
Absolutely. So that's a work in progress that we are doing. So not only PCPIR, but yes, one step ahead is green industrial park is what we are looking at the future. That's number one. Number two, in terms of coastal shipping, so everybody knows shipping is the most economical mode of transportation. Cost of shipping per ton mile, there are many studies and various numbers are being shown up. But yes, cost of per ton mile, you're talking about between 80 paise to 1 rupees 20 paise per ton per mile is by shipping. You switch over to rail, it is double of that. And you go to road, it is 3 times of that. Still, 70% of movement in India happens by road. So we are paying more than 3 rupees per ton per mile, whereas shipping can be much more cheaper, much more affordable. And that's where a gap is a huge gap that remains in our country, and that's why our cost of logistics, again, I come to the 14%, which is the worldwide benchmark, you're talking 7 to 8%. There is a lot of push from the government. I would also request the industry to please call us, sit down with us. We will sit down and work out with you. If you are shipping a container from Chennai to Mumbai, you don't have to come by road. You don't have to use road always because there is far more accidents. The carbon emission is far higher. If you want to be green, if you want to be affordable, shipping is the mode we need to switch over to.
So it's still 14 days or it has reduced?
Sir,
because when the reports had come, they said that it was 14 days. So I thought it would have reduced by now to 10 or 8 days.
You're talking of cost of logistics.
No, I'm talking about the overall...
the lead time you're talking about.
The lead time.
So lead time, again, last 3 months, 4 months since the war has happened, you look at the congestion at Namasheva, look at the congestion at Mundra, so it has certainly go up. Now that's temporary.
Okay.
Once you have established a trade lane, you would find that it would reduce substantially. So these are exaggerated situations which don't happen regularly.
So when PPP comes into picture, because where you are getting into SEZ and setting up, so there the lead time would be definitely better.
So as it is, if you look at the number of services that are there, I'm not saying that I can make a difference. What I'm saying is once the trade has established, the shipping line has a window. Today what happens is like for coastal shipping, the window is already fixed from the port of Pipavav, Kandla, right down up to Tuticorin. So that's because you have a lot of tiles moving in from Morbi region to Cochin, Tuticorin. So that's already established and those weekly schedules are always available. Whereas if you are talking about Chennai and Mumbai, because I'm just giving you an extreme example, Vizag, Mumbai or Chennai, Mumbai, it's the vessel comes as per inducement. It's not a regular call. I see one call in a blue moon. So then the lead time improves. So once a trade lane is established, you will find that lead time definitely is fixed and far more efficient than it is today.
Kumar, if you can throw some light on what are the things that you are doing with stringent environment regulations coming into picture, what technologies and safety protocols that you are implementing to prevent hazardous material spills and manage process effluents. And what's your role in trying to see that the turnaround time reduces?
Okay, good evening everybody. So I represent APM terminals. We have 2 assets in India. One is in Navasheva, which is a purely container terminal, and the other is in Pipavav, which is a multi-commodity handling port, where we also have a dedicated petrochemical, chemical, and LPG terminal. So safety is something that is essentially, we call it our license to operate. We are absolutely uncompromising on safety, and how do we ensure that our ports and terminals are safe? I think in APM terminals, we have a 5-point system for it. Number 1 starts with design. So 90% of your safety is taken care when you design the asset. We are ensuring, especially in terms of chemicals, which are anyway generally hazardous in nature. They have risks related to fire, environment, spillage, etc. So using the right materials, getting the right tanks in place, ensuring the integrity of the pipelines. We have has-bunds, we have drainage areas for any leakage so that doesn't mix with the marine facilities, etc. So a lot of thought goes into designing everything for safety, and then also comes with firefighting equipment. You have oil spill, etc. So number 1 is take care of safety as much as possible while designing the terminal or the port. Two, and this is where we are extremely strong, is processes. I think all of us are in a hazardous industry. We do have processes, but the point that are those processes followed, that's really important. We have a concept called PCs, we call process checks, where inter-department checks are done at random to ensure that processes are being followed. So we have SOPs for everything. If you're doing any hot work, there are permits. So a lot of it is done well before even you start handling any product. So all the processes are put in place. Interestingly, what we're doing now is something called an exception playbook. So we have SOPs for everything, which means that how a process should be carried out. But anytime something goes off, and we all know that this happens very, very often, when things don't go as per the process. And then that's the time you are actually huddling together and you're trying to figure out what's the best way to react, who should be informed first, etc. So what we are doing now is we've started this, we're working on this thing called an exception playbook, where we are picking out what kind of incidents count as exceptions and listing what should be done in that case. So it's an SOP for when the SOP is not followed. So this is the kind of focus we have on processes, that even exceptions are being mapped as processes. Number three, as you mentioned, technology. A lot of technology being used for detection. So we have, and this is not just limited to us in India, I also will reach out because we have 60 terminals that we operate all around the globe. And a lot of technology that has been introduced at a few of those terminals, yet to come to us, but a lot of it has already been being used. So from detection, technology is used in, we have drone technologies that can check. We have robotics that check detection in the tanks, etc. Using of arms, loading arms, which are smart arms. They also have detection centers. We have pressurized gauges, etc. So a lot of technology that goes into ensuring that in case there is a breach of safety, it is detected at the earliest. What we have today with us, all our ports have something called asset digitization, AD we call it. It is essentially creating a digital twin of all your assets. So if anybody gets a chance to come to my terminal, we can definitely show that how every asset is mapped digitally. And the great thing about this is that every aspect of that asset is being monitored in real time from a remote location. So even things like if the temperature of the cooling oil is gone beyond the required limit, it flags off inside the control room because the asset is speaking on a real-time basis using a lot of IoT. And for us, since we are a global company, how it even helps is that our experts sitting in different countries have access to this digital twin. So if there's something that is out of the ordinary, we can actually get help from experts sitting across the globe in real time as well. So this is one innovation that all APM terminals have already deployed at their terminals. Number 4 would be people. A lot of effort and energy is spent on training people. You need to have the right people. You need to have people with the right mindset. The safety mindset is very important. We have a lot of drills that ensure we ensure that each kind of scenario is covered when we are doing these drills, including things like spillage, oil spillage, fires, etc. So a lot of focus on people. We have a whole system of lean that we borrowed from Japan, wherein we try to, one is of course get everything in standardized, and then in addition to standardized, we try to do continuous checks to see if the standards are being maintained. And last and not the least would be the culture. Our company and a lot of companies in my space have a very strong culture towards safety. The management, safety is not for people who are only working in the field. It comes right from top. We have a system of going Gemba, wherein weekly all leaders are expected to go out into the place of work and interact with the frontline workers to understand what could be the issues, and we have safety walks. So a lot of focus on ensuring that the entire management from top to bottom is safe and ensures that everybody who comes in, comes out, knows how chemicals are to be handled, how the equipment is to be handled. That culture is there, which has been percolated all the way to the bottom. So I would roughly sum it up in these 5 principles that we are consciously using to ensure that our ports and terminals are as safe as they can be.
And what are the new things that you are adding? which will make you look like an international,
Well,
or
from
like Port of Rotterdam or Antwerp, Bruges, or
Port of Rotterdam and Antwerp are they have made they've made a lot of they've taken a lot of time to be where they are. I think Daljit ji has already touched upon it. Antwerp, interestingly, I think that's the largest petrochemical hub in Europe.
Well, let's put it this way. The two largest hubs in Europe are Rotterdam and Antwerp.
Yeah,
And
so-
Houston on this side, on American side, but these two are the largest.
Absolutely.
But hats off to APM and various other new initiatives which is coming up all across India. Well, this is what I wanted to highlight. Technology has really come in, right in ports, terminals, and the full shipping logistics scenario. We are talking about digital twins, not just in theory. It is adoption. It is already there in India. We are not even looking at west or east. It is right here on our doorsteps, whether it is JNP, whether it's Adani Mundra, or at APMs, or at NSST, all resorting to digital twins. This is to ensure optimal performance. So we are already there. Well, when we are talking about chemical industry, where we are talking about in Pipavav or in the various smaller chemical terminals like GCDPL or the specialized terminals, because when we talk about chemical terminals, these are specialized terminals. Chemicals move in three types, either in break bulk, or in containerized form, or in liquid form. Break bulk and containerized, its break bulk is almost outdated. Containerized, we all know. Now, as the volumes increase, it's all about specialized terminals handling specialized chemicals. Molecules, what do you have? Sulfuric acid terminals, hydrochloric acid terminals, and we are talking about storage. That's where when we talk about terminals and pipelines, this is what we are going on to the next level. That's what, when Antwerp was talking about thousands of kilometers of pipeline within their own ecosystem, this is what we are talking about. It is just not there. It is already come into India. If you talk about Nhava Sheva right now, Ganesh Bensoplas and various other people, the tenders are out in the open. But there are no significant players still out there to grab the market. It is just not there. Even Europe, when we are talking about Rotterdam and Antwerp and France, all these places are having a serious shortage of tankage and dedicated, even though they have thousands of kilometers, but still it is short. The chemical industry is growing by leaps and bounds. This is where people like JM Baxi Group, they are investing, they have already invested a lot in warehouses in dry cargo. Now it's time for them and various other people to get into liquids too, chemicals. That's what he said. He's already been there. All to you, Rajnish ji.
my question to you, sir, and to all of you is, what decarbonization initiatives are being taken and progress to making shipping ports green?
You want to go? Please.
I can start.
Because everybody is talking about green hydrogen. Everybody is talking about making the trucks green or using, say, electric. So I think these small initiatives will definitely help. Plus, the ships using hydrogen or methanol for the transportation. So, if you can talk about that.
So, again, to give you the APM terminals playbook, we have a three-pronged strategy for decarbonization. And when we talk about decarbonization at ports, we always tend to look at going for green fuels or electric, etc. But first thing, the decarbonization starts with productivity, with doing more with less, and that's the principle we follow. Which means that if you are able to be more productive, your equipment will run less. The lesser your equipment runs, the more green points you score. So the first thing is to ensure that we are, as ports, become as productive as possible. We are, the turnaround time of ships, the turnaround time of trucks, the dwell time of cargo, we are making every effort to ensure that this is at the highest productivity levels globally. And APM terminals, and especially GTI, actually sets the standards even on the global stage in terms of productivity. So number one is that reduce the use of equipment, which means definitely by extension you're reducing the need for fuels, electricity, everything. Number two, replace, which means whatever equipment is running on fossil fuels, try to see if you can move it to A, greener fuels, or B, better still, is electric. GM Baxi is one of the pioneers in terms of e-trucking. They have a huge fleet of electric trucks, and we have now started as well at GTI and at Pipavav. Currently, about 50% of our fleet is running on electric, and we are planning to go to 100% over the next 6 to 8 months. So that's number one. We do have other equipment that runs on diesel, but those are larger projects. We have to figure out how we want to move to electric there. So that's number two. And number three is, even if you go electric, and that electricity is coming from thermal or fossil fuel sources, then that completely defeats the purpose. So of course, renewable energies. And we, GTI in fact, and I think this is not GTI, all the terminals in Nhava Sheva actually have invested in solar power plants in Maharashtra. We've got one power plant which is near Aurangabad, which as of 7th July last year is supplying green electricity to us, and we are running at 90% green electricity. There's a small gap that we need to cover, but we will be 100% very soon. So this is a strategy to go green. But coming to, I'll just add one more thing. So three more things that they're doing in order to add, and this is all scope one. What I was talking about is our own carbon emission, our carbon footprint is reducing. But we are also, GTI is also the pioneer, the first terminal in India identified to have a shore power connection. So it's a JNP initiative. They have identified us as the first terminal, and we will be setting this up. It's an 18-month project. First time in India, a terminal will be equipped with a shore power facility wherein the vessels can come in, switch off their DGs, and connect to shore power. And this qualifies as scope 3 emissions, where we help our partners reduce their emissions. So a lot of initiatives are being taken in this field.
What you said? Shore power.
Shore power, yeah.
So from the tide you generate electricity.
Oh, no, sorry. Let me explain. So when a vessel comes into the port, it is the vessel's electricity is supplied by its own diesel generators, which is running on MDOs. The shore power means you switch off your diesels, and I'll plug in the shore power into your ship. So your ship, the duration that it is at port, it is running on through my, and that is of course coming from solar. So you're actually running the ship with green electricity during the duration. So this is the technology. There are certain segments like China, West Coast, US, every terminal has to have a shore power connection. Now South America and Europe is also coming on that. Asia, a little bit of a laggard here, but India is already started, and the first project is online, is on its way now.
What I see is, I see a lot of cooperation between, because normally people don't take other companies' name. Here, everybody is appreciating each other, which is a good thing in the...
Sir, it's a common objective for all of us to make logistics green. So we do it together. We have our electric trucks at Nhava Sheva. So our terminal in Nhava Sheva is 100% electric, but our competitors' terminal also are using those electric trucks. Because as I said, today when I go to a customer, now the difference between when I used to speak to a customer earlier, there were two things the customer is asking: what would be the fastest transit time? What would be the cheapest freight? There were two. Today, the difference that has come in is the third aspect which has come in is how green you are. And that's where it's a challenge for all of us as a responsible logistics player to offer you a solution which is not only fast, which is not only economically affordable, but also green. And that's why we have this investment.
So the chemical companies need to learn a lot from you in terms of cooperation and...
Sir, as I say, logistics, don't worry about it. Leave it to experts. We'll take care of it. You please continue to produce what you are good at.
Just to add to what he's saying, our electric trucks go for charging in their electric yard.
Very good, very good. A big round of applause for all the people.
I have on this green thing, I have a contra view. Always there have got to be contra views. Everyone talks green. Of course, Indian government has also said like by 2070 will be net zero, blah, blah, blah. Everything is there on the news. I don't have to share much about it. But let's talk about how green is green. The industries, road, everything, how far are we, how close are we in India? I'm not talking anywhere else. You and me are there, right here in India. How close are we not in theory, how practical are we close to going green? Let's really count it. Today, there are statistics which say that logistics contributes 20% or 10% of the carbon and blah, 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 all those things. I'm not going into that. But very simply put, logistics contribute a minuscule part of the carbon emission. The main is transport, road, inland transport, road, and the industry themselves. Are they green first? Pushing the green onto their tail really doesn't help. All right? Of course, IMO and the overall shipping community has committed that they are going to be green by 2030, a whole lot of initiatives. For you, as you're concerned, they say that there is an ESG, there is a CII, there is a cost component. There is a cost component. That's what he said, like, what is this? When you ask for the container that the lady was asking, the container was 2,000, now it is at 5,000, and there is that added surcharge, this blah, 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 because this is mandated to be paid to Europe. We all understand that what are the things, the CII, and what are this ESG costs and all those things, everything is there. That you guys understand. Now, across ports here in India, the amount of good work which has been done, as you have shared, is phenomenal to go green. But is green fuel really available? This is where Europe comes in. Europe, the green fuel, first is focused more onto road transport and various other things, providing it for the real transport, the real guzzlers, so that can become green. Of course, this will also come here, like the various shore power generated, the electricity generated from green, on a green all those things will come. That's my take on the thing. Yes, the ports and shipping are really on the path to going green. What about the Indian industry and the Indian populace at large?
Okay, I'll just continue with what Captain Ram just said. And when we're talking about greening, I think we have to go in a phased manner. I think now, currently, when we talk about in India, we're talking about sustainability. It's not about fully green. Rajnish just mentioned about, using the fleet has actually been used by the neighbors also. Like, that's called shared infrastructure usage. That will be more sustainable in the long term. You're talking about using coastal shipping. Now, just stats say that if you use one rail network, it takes away almost 45 trucks off the road. If you use one barge, it takes away 100 containers of the load, of the road, which is actually like being sustainable. You talk about digital twin, which is very interesting because, we as a port have built up a whole digital network. We have a 5G network. We have built up a whole digital twin of the port. We monitor each and every activity. And that is also the need when you talk about not being, when you talk about green, you have to also look at how are you going to monitor that green, whether it's really green, what Captain just mentioned, whether there's a need to really look at the efficiency first and then look at whether it's green. So, one of the things we've observed is manufacturers come to the port by two reasons. One is there has to be low cost the risk for logistics. And the second one, it has to have a dependable infrastructure. And that accounts for everything. Like, even when you're putting up infrastructure, everything cannot be green at this moment. Obviously, futuristic, we talk about green. We are building infrastructure at the port. We do a lot of green initiatives ourselves, being a port authority. Like, even for example, we don't let the gases go waste. We are a chemical cluster. We use the heat coming out of the gases to heat the buildings actually in the port area. So we are trying to be sustainable everywhere that we could do. And that is, I think, the phased way that you go about.
So, yeah, your thoughts, and then I will.
Because Captain Iyer just mentioned very passionately about logistics industry doing its bit, but are we getting support? I'll give you a very live example. Maersk Shipping, which is my parent group, they have announced a net zero by 2040 ambition, and they purchased 14 methanol-powered vessels over the last 3 years. And in fact, one of those vessel naming ceremony was done for the first time in India at our terminal. Now, they have got 14 such vessels that are plying on methanol. Obviously, this is more expensive than traditional fuel. So Maersk, in its bid to go green, they are ditching the traditional IFO and going into methanol, ordering these ships, and they have more ships in the pipeline for order. But when they went out to market and expected the market to pay a premium so that your container can be shipped purely on green energy, they did not get a good response at all. In fact, when it came to putting your money where your mouth is, the industry very happily just kind of pulled back, saying that no, I'm still looking for the lowest cost, and I would rather send my box on the cheapest freight than pay more and go on a green freight. So that mindset change is going to take more time to come. In fact, it's tragic that Maersk has actually put on hold its future orders of green methanol-based ships.
Can I just add one line to that? So congratulations to Maersk. Yes, you have been the pioneers in switching over to methanol. Just to add to that, you can bring your vessels to Kandla, because if you would have noticed, in the month of April, there was the first methanol bunkering in India, which was done by Stoll Tanker, JM Baxi and Kandla Port together. We did prove that yes, it is possible to get methanol bunkers in India. So please bring your ships into Kandla. JM Baxi would be happy to handle those.
A rejoinder to that, we can talk about carbon, reducing carbon thing, but the most important word for me, the buzzword, is sustainability. Industry is here to make money, is not here for charity. So end of the day, it's all about being sustainable. India has been on the forefront as far as 3 R's are concerned: reduce, reuse, and recycle. I am proponent, I'm a great supporter, great believer of Indian 3 R's. But the only thing is, where I would request all of us to home in on, is that after the 3 R, there is not just R&D, there is a D. It's called disposal of residues. I think we need to ensure sustainable disposal of residues. That is where I think probably, Pravinji, you need to home in on this, because if you drive through the PCPR, and you know what I am talking about, it is just not here, it is globally there, but we need stricter norms and stricter compliances, and it is for every one of us, industry personnel, to put our own hands up, and say, I will ensure.
So
it is not just for compliance sake, that I will ensure. Thank you.
So it is the entire ecosystem which needs to be green. It is the entire ecosystem which needs to be sustainable. And the kind of enthusiasm that I see on the port side, and also the camaraderie, is not to be seen in other sectors. But nice to see both domestic as well as global competitors as well as friends at the same time, and trying to see that they lay the foundation layer in developing chemical hubs. A big round of applause for all our speakers. Mr. Rajnish Khandelwal, Captain Iyer, Mr. Kumar, Divya, and Daljit Singh Kohli.